Hey, remember that short story I was writing?
Is this one about the fish?
Yeah, the fanfic. Just finished. Tell me honestly if it sounds wank. So the Doctor takes off in the TARDIS onto his next adventure. Turns out there's a stowaway that's been on board the ship the whole time. The whole series.
Oh, you mean like the one in the beginning?
What's beginning?
The audio story, the beginning? They did that one before.
Ah, shit, really? When?
And in the comics, they did that one already.
Yeah, well, there's been like a million comics, so...
Yup.
Nah, see, my one's different. My one's got a fish in it. There's a fish as the villain.
Uh-huh.
Erin, I know you've seen a lot of Doctor Who, but I honestly think you're messing with me here.
Rude.
Okay, forget the idea. How about, Laika the Russian space dog goes on a time travel adventure?
That's alien bodies.
I can't believe this.
Have you tried deleting it? Well, that's what I'd do. They've done that already.
Thanks. I'll do that right now. Not a proud moment. Welcome back to Broke Canon. That conversation didn't actually happen, by the way. So I guess, in terms of my own lived experience, you could call it non-canonical. Today's topic are TARDIS stowaways.
Nice opinion, Doctor. One small issue. I am inside your home.
We got people living in the walls. In the transcendental walls. In fact, this idea I had is so deeply unoriginal that it goes as far back as the Doctor and Susan's first ever voyage. When they stole the TARDIS from Gallifrey, they technically took with them... kidnapped the Time Lord Quadriga 3911 Stoin. It was Stoin's job to take the TARDIS out of active service, and he just happened to be on board when this guy and his granddaughter went for a 3,000-year joyride. I mean, that's Doctor Who, that's the show. The Doctor and Susan dumped him on the moon, where he henceforth became a recurring Big Finish villain. I used to have the little crack theory that this was an alternate universe Davros origin, but I'm just finding out now that he blew himself to smithereens, trying to find a way to undo all of the Doctor's adventures. The Doctor and Susan radicalized this man. According to Terry Malloy, he believes that Stoin goes on, living inside the Doctor's TARDIS, trapped as energy. So I don't know if we take those, but that sounds like a stowaway to me. Then there's the resurrection fish. I literally wrote a story about a fish stowing in the TARDIS, you fucks. The Doctor bought Susan a pet fish from the planet Quinis. It played dead so well, the Doctor forgot about it for 8 regenerations. When the 8th Doctor rediscovered Susan's old room, he also discovered this guy, who had grown so big he started breaching the planes of reality. Because of how the TARDIS works, it's possible it's still alive today and did not know what it was getting itself in for. You're immortal now. Shit. Then there's Mariana. Mariana was another Time Lord who happened to be the previous owner of the Doctor's TARDIS. Bogglingly, it would take the Doctor 4 regenerations and 200 years to find out she had been in the ship the entire time. Alright, the three of you are going to have to settle this between yourselves. I think Marnell from the VNAs is the legal documents, which means, sorry Doctor, your TARDIS is getting impounded. The Doctor stole a ship with 2 Time Lords still inside. At least Davros had the courtesy to announce his presence, and then try and wipe him from history. God damn, these are weird stories. Both released on the 50th anniversary. Big Finish decided this is how they're going to celebrate the 50th. By hiding a bunch of random old people in the back room. She's still there, by the way, as she's trapped in a point of infinite stillness.
Wait a sec. Why have you got a woman locked in a vault?
4 doesn't have time to worry about that because there's also a stowaway monster rummaging around from his early days. I guess somebody left the TARDIS door open and a big monster man crawled inside Chitterton. This one is a Doctor Who magazine short story from 1980, where 4 and K9 have to do some TARDIS spring cleaning, by the sounds of it. Sorry, I hope I'm not coming across too annoyed. Every time I come up with a good Doctor Who idea, I find a piece of media that's done it 10 times over and way better than I ever possibly could. When I say that anything that can possibly happen over the course of many decades will eventually happen, I meant it like as a positive thing. I wanted to have the cool ideas though. I wanted that for me. Then there's the Eminence, a gaseous psychic baddie, who flew into the 4th Doctor's brain and just sort of took up residence there. As it's been revealed, this thing lives inside the 4th Doctor, the 6th Doctor, and the 8th Doctor. I guess it skips generations, as it lives dormant inside their brain. That's a stowaway. I'd go as far to say hitchhiking.
We've been here all along.
Lest we forget, the Doctor has a room inside the TARDIS that contains a Doctor Strange-style eldritch horror, and another room with a miniaturized planet inside. Nobody ever asks him what the deal was with the miniaturized planet full of people on it. And lastly, there's Myla from Patient Zero, a Dalek agent who, as a result of many infections, can become invisible and non-corporeal, apparently snuck into the TARDIS some point in the chase, and has been there ever since. When did she sneak aboard? The Mary Celeste episode? The Mechanoid story? Dracula's castle? Huge if true. Patient Zero as an audio story is absolutely nuts. I have listened to it before, but somebody had to remind me that there's a pathogen which can turn normal people into Daleks. The casing and everything, on the spot.
All humans must self-isolate by order of the Daleks.
This invisible woman camped out in the TARDIS from Season 2, Season 23. And if that's not far-fetched enough for you, she also swaps places with Charlie. I guess just a lot flies over this dude's head. I think at this point the Doctor should invest in like a burglar alarm or something. This woman has snuck in 2 times in a row. And I guess the Doctor and the TARDIS both didn't care enough to let each other know. Absolute scenes down here in Doctor Who. For the record, my story had Perry and Six, and there are a bunch of dudes, good guys and bad guys, who had just sort of accumulated over the years and built a little hideout, stealing stuff from the other rooms and building like a little tree fort. But no, but I guess you'll never see it, because I'm a plagiarizing hack. Some people might say there's no such thing as new ideas, but for me, I think that's doubly so. Planet's fucked. Sorry, I don't want to be the one to break this to you. Earth isn't doing so good. Doctor Who, world, or otherwise. Doctor Who is a program that will not shy away from conversations of climate change. There are countless stories that involve, feature, or reference a completely ruined Earth. Depressing, damning warnings. That's part of science fiction's MO. But at the same time, consider this. The existence of planet Earth existing at all in these future sci-fi stories is in itself optimistic. There are still humans in the 51st century. Gotta hope, but the fact that we exist at all is getting more and more naive by the day. In the Whoniverse, we know that there are multiple times in our planet's future that the whole place is inhospitable. According to the Macra, the planet has already gone beyond the point of no return by the time of 2010. That's pretty heavy stuff for a children's book. Maybe that Macra was just biased? Like, hey, I'll take some of those toxic fumes off your hands. Get out of here, you crustacean. We're gonna choke to death on our own fossil fuels and we're gonna like it. We all know that socio-environmental inaction will lead to Orphan 55.
Be the best of humanity.
Worms matter.
Oh.
It's a message that's kind of hard to miss. Though I still don't quite understand where this story sits. Earth degenerates into an orphan planet forever, and we all become dregs forever? That doesn't seem very reversible. But the Doctor describes it as one potential future. Which, that's not how this show works. We're not jumping time tracks. We're not going to a parallel Earth. Unless the Doctor changes that, I guess we're dregs now. I'm a dreg now! In Earth's future, a corporation also takes over and rebrands Earth as Tellus, named after the company Tellus, so I guess things are going to be really cool in that century. It also has some other bad phases, at other points in our future being called Avalion, Mondas, New Skaro, and Aerith. New Skaro? More like New Skaro. Man, how badly do we mess this place up? Even further down the line, the Time Lords decide to cover it up and rename it Ravalox, taking our culture back to the medieval era. Something that the Time Lords never face any ramifications for, no one ever brings it up again. But you know what? Why should they? According to Lawrence Miles, and disregarding Rusty Davis, the entire Earth was formed around Gallifreyan technology. They made the Earth, they can do what they want with it. Curse of Emmerich, Ship of Fools. Most parallel Earths or alternate Earths are irradiated wastelands full of black sludge, and also sometimes vampires. Pretty fucked that it takes us till after the 52nd century to get on that, especially when the Doctor can knock up a little device with Luke Rattigan in 5 minutes that cleans the entire atmosphere. In this book, you actually can make a pact with Macra, trading food and shelter and that good fume stuff, whilst they suck up and clean our ozone layer. Did nobody tell Macra that they didn't have to brainwash humans to make them create CO2? We do it quite willingly. I found this book in a pub just this week and accidentally took it home. It's cool. Bars, libraries, same difference.
I like to think I liberated it.
And there's an entire short story about climate change, followed by a little mini Doctor Who themed essay about Earth's past and Earth's possible future. And I quickly put it down the second I realised I was learning stuff about our world rather than the Doctor Who one. Utterly useless information. For instance, and this is my favourite quote from the book, if learning more about space helps reveal what we're doing to Earth, perhaps it can also help us find solutions to slow or even reverse the damage we do. Perhaps the Doctor Who story of the Green Death might show us how. End sentence. Every single Doctor has also watched their own version of Earth ravage itself. Yeah, in the future, we're fucked in 13 different ways. Plague and motor damage in the Dalek invasion of Earth. Water death in Underwater Menace. Dinosaur doomsday. Pirate death. Death by pirates. Plague! Oh, I know that one. Time Lord displacement, which apparently, this wasn't us. The Time Lords moving the entire constellation is what burned up the entire world. Because that story's green, there's loads of plant life in that. It's a healthy planet, but the Time Lords threw a solar firestorm at it in order to shove it halfway across the galaxy. Climate change debunked. Curse of Emmerich involves a dying Earth thousands of years in the future. I think the Doctor reverses this one, but not the others, I guess. Artron death. Sun expansion. Reality bomb. Fingers crossed for a reality bomb, can't lie. Another dinosaur-themed doomsday. There's a lot of these. And more solar flares. And Dreg death. Dregadeddon. Does that work? Armored Dragon. Yes! Edheim, you're a hack writer, because All 55 is a terrible name, you should have called it Armored Dragon. And that's the facts. Earth bad. Planet broke. Oopsie! Have a good week, I guess. And fact number 3. You may have thought that the Fifth Doctor's final moments involved him saving his companion from Spectrox poisoning in fan favourite story The Caves of Androzani. But you would actually be mistaken there, you stupid bitch. Only the true fans know that the Fifth Doctor's final moments were confused surrealist delirium.
Feels different this time.
Let's go over to the unmatched Big Finish story, Circular Time. 4 different short stories. All of them stellar. There's the one where Isaac Newton clocks the Doctor and immediately works out the entire premise of the programme Doctor Who. So intimidating his powers of deduction that it almost feels like a fourth wall break. There's the one where they have to stop the renegade Time Lord who's gone off to live as a birdman.
Bird up!
And he becomes a bird and sprouts bird arms. Wings, I think they're called. The one where the local guy in the pub gets a bit racist and the Fifth Doctor is like, I don't know, I think other things happen in that one, I don't really remember. And the final story that takes place during the events of the Doctor's regeneration on the floor of the TARDIS. In the final moments of Caves of Androzani, putting in another story in the space of that 60 seconds is very brave. Pretty gutsy considering this is like a sacred fan text. But it works out because Paul Cornell happens to be an amazing writer. So,
You guys are watching Bird Up.
all the same, the final part, Winter, is one of the wankiest fan service stories going, but it knows it. Many decades after she's left the TARDIS, Nyssa starts getting dreams about Tegan, the Master, Adric's there. We're all spinning around in a circle saying, "Doctor! Die, Doctor!" It's a really weird dream, but she keeps having it. Meanwhile, the Doctor's dreaming about walking through the winter snow. As he dreams his final thoughts as the regeneration process starts, the two dreams link together. Dream Doctor doesn't really remember who he is. To him, Adric and Tegan are the names of his children. Chameleon is his wife. Yeah, now we've all had dreams like that, haven't we, Doc? And it's his job to find the Watcher, walking to him in the distant snow. For you see, this moment where the Master appears in the final moments of the story, it's literal. This is its own literal story taking place in microseconds. Within the Doctor's brain, the Master is attempting to kill him mid-regeneration. Come on, that's breaking the first rule of fiction. You don't attack during a transformation sequence, that's Anime 101. But thanks to Nyssa and all of his past friends he's collected during this regeneration, except for you and you, link minds and come together to help the Doctor trip balls and kick the Master out. It's like a scrum. In those 10 seconds, when the Doctor's on the TARDIS floor regenerating. I didn't say it was likely. It's a very unlikely tale, but it's a good one. The fact that a Time Lord can make unconscious contact with people, no matter where they are in time or space, that's a bit nuts. I guess as it's a battle in a surrealist nightmare, it's also okay when Nyssa says this.
Do you follow him then?
Absolutely not. Why do you think I would follow him?
I mean, follow his adventures twice a week on the telly. Rather thin stuff for me, but the children seem to enjoy him.
Don't look at me, I don't know what I'm meant to make of that. The final time all the Fifth Doctor's friends saw him, it was through a dream. Except for Nyssa, who would actually go on and rejoin the TARDIS after this. Those two are keeping some serious secrets from each other in order to preserve the web of time. Imagine if you'd seen like your best friend die, and then you went on a road trip with them. I don't know how I'd cope. The drama. And so with the parting help of Nyssa, Peter Davison's favourite companion, and let's face it, probably Fives as well, helps him to go off into that sweet night as he speaks his final words.
Adric?
I too hope that one day those can be my final words. Good night.